So let's talk about Native Instruments Kontakt, which for me until recently has been a bit of an enigma. I'm quite familiar with the MPC-style samplers where you've got the pads and you're working with one-shots and making drum beats or just using samples in that kind of way. But I do remember when I was younger being interested in the EMU-style pitched samplers where it was a keyboard and you would sample something in and then you could play it across the keyboard and manipulate it. And this whole time it was inside Kontakt. I've always thought of Kontakt as something that I load my library into that I bought from Native Instruments, and they have many, many different instruments that go inside Kontakt, and there's lots of third-party stuff. But it's really just as simple as dragging a WAV file in, so I'm just going to do that as an example here. And that's it. So now there's a sample. That's Mooncake from Final Space. And once it's there, it can be across the whole keyboard. It automatically sort of maps it out in a very basic way. But as what happens with audio, when you speed it up and slow it down, it changes speed as well. But you might not want that, because if you play them together, they end at different places. So if you wanted to sort of make it into chords or whatever you're doing creatively with your sampling, I had to figure this out. It's pretty easy to do actually. You just click Use Time Machine Pro, which is in the Wave Editor section of Kontakt. It's got a lot of stuff into it, and I'm not going to go through all the details because it's kind of overwhelming, and I personally don't really know what everything does. But this one thing does it. So you turn that on, and now everything's the same speed. So I can go, which you wouldn't normally do, but that's how that works. The other thing you can do that's interesting is when you look at the mapping editor, you've got sort of the keyboard run or keyboard roll across the bottom, and you can literally put a different WAV file attached to each individual note. And so just this morning I was messing around, and I'm going to show you what I did here. So I just took my acoustic guitar and played chromatically up, starting on a C. And I just kept going up until I had, a couple of octaves of that. And that's what you use. Basically, you cut each one of those notes out and save them as a separate WAV file and hopefully name them correctly so that they are in order. It's a bit tricky. What I learned by doing this, because I haven't really tried this before, is you have to be very consistent with your playing and how hard you hit the note and how long you hold it for and that kind of stuff. Because if it's just a slight bit off, it sounds really weird once you put it into a sampling situation. So now let's look at what that is when it's inside the instrument here. Okay, so this is a Kontakt instrument I've made called Roman Acoustic Guitar, and you can see these little individual slices that I can sort of click on, and then they can all be manipulated separately. But now once they're on the keyboard, I can play them, and it's really interesting. So I've added some reverb to it so far. But what sounds really cool is my friend James, who's also known as Memorex with a CK at the end, made this instrument that goes into Reactor, and it's quite incredible. It's a VHS simulator with all this amazing degradation quality to it that you have control over, and you can combine things together and make it sort of like just beautifully warbly, and I just love it. It's got a bit of a chorus thing to it. It actually has chorus as one of the things you can do, but to me this just adds beautiful character to things. Yeah, it's weird to think that that's my acoustic guitar now that I'm playing like that. So this is nothing new in terms of the world of music, but to me now that I have this as a tool that I had the whole time, I just didn't know what to do with it. It's making me imagine things that maybe I'm going to try and do in the future with being creative with music. So I hope you got something out of this, and I'll see you in a second.